Out here in the shop today, trying to finish up a job I've been working on for quite some time on this 66 Chevelle. It's an LS swap deal where I'm hooking up all the factory fuel injection out of the old Silverado truck or whatever. And I also put Dakota Digital dash in it and vintage air conditioning system, heater and air conditioning system. So the problem comes in where with the factory heater control, vintage air gives you some like sliding potentiometer type deals. You got to rig up on the back of this thing, and it's really just a mess. It ends up being really deep in the dash, and with all the new duct work and stuff, you got to get piped in there and snaked all over the place. It's just really like trying to get 87 pounds of poop in a half-pound sack. So that kind of had to go. I decided to upgrade it to a more modern 3-knob style heater control, AC control, and decided to try to make it work with the old mount, basically, for the old slider deal. Figure you might want to check out the ingenuity. All right, so here is the factory heater control for the 66 Chevelle. And as you can see here, this thing is pretty deep to begin with, and then you get these potentiometer slider deals that you have to rig up on here from vintage air to give it a signal to go to the control unit for the air conditioning system. And it makes it even bigger. It makes it way wider and even more cumbersome back in the dash. And you can imagine you got a vehicle that's now got a bunch of extra stuff in it that didn't have from the factory, and it's got all these new vent hoses and all this stuff in there too that's crammed back in there. So decided to make it a little smaller by switching it to just this. This is also from vintage air. This is their little 3-knob deal to control the HVAC system. And you can see it's got the same kind of connector on it, but it's all done in a very small compact deal. So decided I wanted to try to retain some of this bracketry so that I didn't have to drill any holes in the dash or anything. It can still mount from the factory mount. But I can actually make it quite a bit smaller by getting rid of this back here, getting rid of all these guts here, and try to make this work inside here. And plus it'll give it kind of a, you know, more like a look like it's supposed to be that way, like it came from the factory back in 1966 with billet 3-knob HVAC controls. All right. Let's get started by taking this thing apart. How about that? Now that we got that cut out, we need to make a filler piece to go in here. And we have got a sheet of ABS here, also known in other parts of the world as ABS plastic. We're going to cut that out. I got it marked to fit right in that hole there. So, and later in the video, we'll be taking up donations for a DeWalt jigsaw. So I don't have to use this one anymore. Should I cut out the template and do it like you're supposed to, or should I just mark it and go for it? I'm just gonna, that's a silly question. All right. now we got our little piece of ABS cut out. We got our little piece here separated. So it's going to fit in here just like this. But we got to find some way to secure this. So what we're going to use is a little bit of this fiberglass filler on the back side of it. Test fit it just to be safe. Put our little clips back on here. It'll almost hold itself. I'll make sure it don't slide around here. So, put this on here. Make sure nothing's going to hit back here. It may, because it looks like this is kind of in the way back here. Yeah, we'll have to cut that too. Okay, so we got this cut out now, clearance to fit. So we're going to put this back together. I see something here that I don't really like, and that is this thing is beat all to heck around here. We're going to go ahead and fix that. I don't like it, and it just looks beat up. So we're going to sand that a little bit, put some Bondo on it. Pretty old, but hopefully it'll still work. Ugh. Yeah. Hopefully that stuff will still work. That don't look good. Okay, now that this is set up a little bit, put it back on here, put our clips on. Let that sit there a little while. Everything is dry now. I'll show you what we got. We fiberglassed it to the mounting bracket and bondoed up all the cracks and the messed up gouges that was in the front of it here. Just think, those gouges could have happened 30, 40 years ago. Heck, 50 years ago. Anyway, so now we're going to sand it off. We'll get to the finishing of it. It is now time to paint and texture our mount. So let's grab some paint. Alright, what are we going to use here? First we need some base. I'll use some of this satin black here. I'll use some of this satin wheel paint. That stuff's really durable. And don't look at this, secret ingredient. So the reason we're going to put a little Raider paint on it, it'd be great if you had some primer, but I don't think I have any black primer, but I want it so that if any of my texture coating comes off, that it doesn't leave any body filler or anything showing. At least it'll be the same color. So we're going to start out with that. Paint is fairly dry to barely tacky. We don't want to do it too early or it'll solvent pop on us. Now, if you're not a subscriber, close your ears because I don't want you to hear this. this is the secret to nice textured finishes for like interiors. This stuff is horrible for what its actual intended purpose is, which is a bed liner. It's not good for that whatsoever. Don't even try using it for that. But for this kind of thing, it's fantastic. I'm about out of this stuff. So this thing is dry now, so we can go ahead and mount our new little thermostat switch. So this thing goes like this in the car. So go ahead and put our face plate on there. And this will go right in behind it. Yeah, I don't know which side is up and down. Oh, that must be up. Okay. Put this on down in there like so. Alright, see, still it's not tight. We got these little screws back here to actually press against whatever you got it mounted to. So you got to screw those down also. And those will actually push against the ABS that we put this in. Let's get it centered up. And it's going to look like that. Okay, so we got to get this heater control set up back in this hole, and you can see with all these hoses and vent pipe here that that's why that we needed to actually make this modification to begin with. Plus it's just a lot nicer, more modern setup. So let me go ahead and try to get this worked in here. Still a very tight fit. See, I scuffed it a little bit. I'll have to touch that up. Scuffed it there too. Get our screws started in there. Now I've got a touch up where we scuffed it, getting it worked in behind the dash. Made some little boo-boos on it there. So